Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're demystifying the precious metals market and objectively reviewing a well-known dealer in the space. Whether you're looking to hedge against inflation, maybe diversify your traditional retirement portfolio, or even just start a fascinating new hobby, understanding physical metal assets is your absolute first step. So today, we're going to unpack the intricate world of coins and bullion, and then take a hard look at Endeavor Metals Group to see exactly how they stack up in a highly competitive industry. But before you spend a single dollar, you really have to answer one core question. And it's a question that dictates your entire strategy in this market. Are you buying gold as a straightforward financial investment, or are you building a collection? This one single decision fundamentally changes what you buy, how you store it, and eventually how you sell it. It's basically the fork in the road for every single metals buyer out there. So here's our roadmap for today. First, bullion versus numismatic coins. Second, 5 key investment factors. Third, who is Endeavor Metals? Fourth, customer reviews and ratings. And fifth, weighing the pros and cons. Okay, let's jump right into section 1, bullion versus numismatic coins. Let's start with bullion. Bullion coins are incredibly straightforward investments. They're valued almost entirely for the raw physical metal they contain, and they're typically issued by global governments. Now, the price you pay here is heavily based on what's called the spot price. Think of the spot price like a live stock ticker that literally never sleeps. It's the current globally traded value of the raw metal. So if gold's spot price is trading at $2,000 an ounce, a 1-ounce gold bullion coin will cost just slightly over that amount. That little bit extra? That's the premium, which basically covers the dealer's overhead and profit margin. Buying bullion is just about as simple, direct, and utilitarian as investing in physical metals gets. On the flip side, we have numismatics. Now, these require a bit more due diligence because you're essentially looking at rare artifacts. These are the coins prized by passionate collectors. A 1-ounce gold numismatic coin contains the exact same amount of raw metal as the bullion coin we just talked about, but it could be worth thousands or even millions of dollars more. Why? Well, it's all about its history, its extreme rarity, or maybe even a really unique minting error from a century ago. Imagine holding a beautifully preserved coin salvaged from a famous 19th century shipwreck. You aren't just buying gold anymore, you're buying a story. It really boils down to this. You're choosing between standard raw materials and highly coveted art. Bullion relies strictly on the intrinsic weight of the metal itself. Numismatics, they rely on scarcity and collector demand. It's kind of like the difference between buying a pound of standard blank canvas versus buying a famous oil painting. Both are made of the exact same core materials, but the market values them in completely different universes. Moving right along to section 2, 5 key investment factors. There are 5 specific metrics that really separate a simple bullion purchase from a complex numismatic acquisition. You have to evaluate the overall value and the condition of the item. Then you need to consider liquidity, meaning exactly how fast you can turn that metal back into usable cash. You also have to honestly assess your personal risk tolerance for price volatility. And finally, you need a solid plan for storage. Are you going to use a home safe, a bank safety deposit box, or maybe pay a specialized depository? How you answer these 5 points will completely shape your buying strategy. Let's look a bit closer at a couple of these factors to see how they actually play out in the real world. Here is where things get pretty wild. A tiny, almost microscopic scratch on a numismatic coin can severely diminish its worth. They are rigorously graded on a universally accepted 70-point system known as the Sheldon Coin Grading Scale, where a perfect 70 is absolutely flawless. So if you're buying numismatics, you have to protect them perfectly in specialized cases. But bullion? You could literally bury a bullion bar in your backyard right next to your family dog's favorite bone, dig it up a decade later, wash it off, and it will still retain its exact raw metal value. No Sheldon scale needed. Then, you have to think about your exit strategy. If you suddenly need to cover an unexpected emergency expense, bullion offers really rapid liquidity. It's incredibly easy to sell back to almost any dealer around the world at current market rates. Numismatics, however, require some real patience. You have to go out and find a fervent collector who recognizes, appreciates, and, most importantly, is willing to pay for that specific coin's rare premium. If you need cash by tomorrow morning, a rare collectible coin might not be your best friend. Okay, section 3, who is Endeavor Metals? Let's apply all this theory to an actual real-world player. We're going to put Endeavor Metals Group under the microscope. They're a dealer that pops up frequently in industry reviews and forums. Based right in the financial district of West Palm Beach, Florida, they serve clients nationwide and have become a really notable player in the physical precious metals space over the years. Endeavor Metals has been in business for over 12 years now, establishing themselves as a full-service precious metals dealer. And you might be wondering, why does that 12-year mark actually matter? Well, because the precious metals market is unfortunately kind of known for fly-by-night operations that pop up when gold is hot and suddenly vanish when the market cools down. Surviving and growing for over a decade means they've successfully navigated multiple economic cycles. So what do they actually offer? A wide array of products across both the bullion and numismatic spectrums we discussed earlier. They're authorized dealers for major global mints and carry everything from standard gold and silver bars all the way to platinum and palladium. And crucially, for retirement investors, they supply IRA-eligible metals. A self-directed IRA is a special type of retirement account that actually lets you hold physical alternative assets, like real gold bars, instead of just paper stocks and bonds. Endeavor partners directly with Gold Star Trust Company to help you legally and securely set up these accounts and navigate those super complex IRS storage rules. Let's pivot to Section 4, Customer Reviews and Ratings. In an industry that handles high-value financial transactions every single day, trust is literally everything. Endeavor holds an A-plus Better Business Bureau rating with 0 complaints closed in the last 3 years. Honestly, having an entirely clean slate with the BBB over a 36-month period is incredibly rare for a company doing their kind of volume. It definitely highlights a remarkably strong commitment to customer satisfaction and conflict resolution. And over on consumer affairs, we're seeing a very similar story. They boast a massive 4.9 out of 5 stars based on dozens of verified reviews. When you read through these various testimonials, a clear pattern of the typical customer experience begins to emerge, which gives us a fantastic look into their company culture. One thing buyers consistently rave about is their educational approach. Instead of an aggressive hard sell, customers note that representatives actually take the time to explain the nuanced differences in coins. People frequently mention that reps patiently sat on the phone with them for extended periods, making sure they fully grasped concepts, like bullion versus numismatics, long before a single dollar ever changed hands. But to keep this explainer perfectly objective, we do need to look at the common critiques as well. While that initial educational approach is highly praised, multiple users on forums noted that once you are in their system, the follow-up post-sale marketing calls can be pretty persistent. Also, in the modern Amazon era, we're all used to seamless online shopping. Endeavor doesn't offer transparent click-to-buy pricing for bullion directly on their website. You actually have to pick up the phone during business hours to get a live quote, which definitely feels like a frustrating roadblock for a lot of modern investors. All right, let's bring it all together in Section 5, weighing the pros and cons. Let's just weigh this out practically. On the pros side, you're getting a highly credible IRA-approved dealer that has survived a decade in a tough industry. They aren't going to nickel and dime you on shipping costs, and they won't force you into massive bulk orders just to do business. But on the con side, the buying experience is decidedly old school. If you're a weekend night owl shopper who just wants to click add to cart at 2 a.m., this isn't going to be for you. You have to call them Monday through Friday. And you'll definitely want to take the time to use a wire transfer or traditional check to avoid that pesky 3% credit card fee. Ultimately, it really comes down to what kind of buyer you are. So, you now have the playbook. Understanding these specific assets and vetting your dealers carefully is the ultimate key to navigating the precious metals market. The question isn't just whether you'll choose the raw, heavy certainty of bullion or the elusive, high-stakes hunt for numismatic rarity. The real question is, in a totally unpredictable economy, can you afford not to know exactly what you're holding? Which path will you choose?